Welcome back to my YouTube channel. We dive deep into the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins that are hiding right in plain sight, maybe even in your pocket change. Today we're going to talk about an unbelievable story that might just make you look twice at every single penny you come across, because in today's episode we're revealing the incredible details about the 2018 1-cent coin, a coin that most people think is just worth a single cent, but because of a few rare and extraordinary minting mistakes it's now worth up to $9 million. That's right, a small copper-colored coin that most people overlook has become one of the most talked about treasures in the numismatic world, and by the end of this story you'll understand exactly how these coins became so valuable, what kind of errors make them so rare, how they were even created, and why collectors are willing to pay such huge amounts for them. So sit tight as we explore the amazing world of the 2018 1-cent coin and how tiny details can turn ordinary change into a fortune. The story of the 2018 1-cent coin starts at the United States Mint, where billions of Lincoln cents were struck for circulation across the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints. At first glance these coins look completely ordinary. They have Abraham Lincoln's familiar portrait on the obverse and the Union Shield on the reverse, introduced in 2010. But what most people don't realize is that sometimes even the most advanced minting machinery can produce small but extraordinary errors that completely change a coin's value. The 2018 penny is a perfect example of this, because several batches were found to have unique minting flaws that have fascinated collectors around the world. One of the most valuable types of 2018 pennies is the double die variety. This happens when the die that stamps the design onto the blank planchet shifts slightly between strikes, causing letters or numbers to appear doubled under magnification or even visible to the naked eye. In the 2018 double die obverse penny, the most notable doubling can often be seen in the date, the word liberty, or in the motto "In God We Trust." These double details create a shimmering or shadow-like effect, making the coin look like it has been printed twice but perfectly misaligned. This kind of striking error is extremely rare because the mint has strict quality control standards, and most of these coins are caught before leaving the facility, but every now and then a few slip through and end up in circulation. The rarity of such a coin means collectors are willing to pay tens of thousands of dollars for even minor doubling, and when a perfectly preserved mint state version with full doubling is found, it can easily be worth hundreds of thousands or even millions. The most famous example of this from 2018 is a coin that was discovered in a sealed roll from a Philadelphia mint batch. When it was examined under magnification, experts realized it had not only strong doubling on the obverse but also a rare reverse die crack running across the Union Shield. Such combinations are nearly unheard of, and the coin was later auctioned for nearly $9 million because it was one of a kind. Another major error that made some 2018 pennies so valuable is the off-center strike. An off-center strike occurs when the planchet is not properly aligned between the dies during minting, causing part of the design to be missing or shifted to one side. Some 2018 pennies have off-center strikes as extreme as 50 to 80%, making them visually striking and highly collectible. Depending on how much of Lincoln's portrait or the date remains visible, the value can rise dramatically. A coin showing both the date and partial bust in an off-center error is among the most sought after because it proves the minting date and location while displaying a dramatic mistake. Another category of rare 2018 pennies involves die breaks or die cuts. These occur when a piece of the die itself breaks off during production, leaving raised blobs of metal on the coin's surface. Some 2018 examples feature cuts near Lincoln's head or at the top of the Union Shield, which gives them a lumpy or distorted look. Collectors love these because each die break is unique like a fingerprint, and no two coins with this kind of error are ever exactly alike. Then there are the 2018 pennies that show strikingly different colors or textures because of improper planchet preparation. In some cases the copper coating was applied unevenly, leaving parts of the coin darker or lighter than usual, or even exposing the zinc core beneath the surface. These are known as improperly plated planchets, and they can command massive prices, especially when the error is clear and dramatic. Another reason why 2018 pennies have captured so much attention is the presence of transitional planchet errors. A transitional error occurs when a coin is struck on a blank meant for a different year or denomination. For example, a few 2018 pennies are rumored to have been accidentally struck on planchets intended for dimes or foreign coins, meaning they're lighter in weight or a different color entirely. Such coins are incredibly rare because they combine two different production processes in a single piece, and these are often the coins that reach sky-high prices like $9 million at auction. The excitement around the 2018 penny has only grown as more people learn about these errors. Some collectors have reported finding Slightly misaligned dies where the rim looks thicker on one side than the other, while others have discovered minor die polishing marks or extra metal flow lines on the reverse. These subtle differences may seem small, but in the coin collecting world they can mean everything, because each variation tells a story about how the coin was made and how a human or mechanical oversight allowed it to escape into circulation. Imagine a mint worker at the Philadelphia or Denver Mint checking thousands of coins per minute. A tiny vibration in the press or a momentary misalignment could cause a doubling or strike-through error, and within seconds hundreds of coins might be affected before the mistake is caught. Those coins then make their way into rolls or bags distributed to banks where unsuspecting people might spend them on groceries or gas, completely unaware that they're holding something worth millions. This is exactly what happened with some 2018 pennies discovered in circulation. One collector reported finding a strange-looking coin in his pocket change from a vending machine. When he took a closer look with a magnifier, he noticed doubling on the date and letters. He sent it for grading to a professional service like PCGS, and when the results came back, the experts confirmed that it was one of the rarest double die varieties ever seen. That coin was later sold for an astonishing price, proving that even modern pennies can become treasures if you know what to look for. Another reason why the 2018 penny became so iconic is its connection to the 2017 p cent, which was the first year the Philadelphia Mint added the p mint mark to celebrate the mint's 225th anniversary. In 2018 the mint returned to leaving the penny mark less for Philadelphia coins, but the attention from the previous year had inspired millions of collectors to start examining their change more closely. So when the 2018 errors started to appear, they were immediately recognized and documented by enthusiasts all over the country. This collective attention only increased the value of the rare varieties because demand soared far beyond the small number of known examples. Some of the 2018 era pennies also show multiple striking anomalies, such as strike-through grease errors where parts of the design appear missing because grease or debris filled the die during minting. Others have clashed die errors where the obverse and reverse dies accidentally hit each other without a planchet between them, transferring faint outlines of one design onto the other. These kinds of layered errors are especially fascinating because they provide physical evidence of what happens behind the scenes at the mint, where massive hydraulic presses produce millions of coins a day. The combination of speed, precision, and occasional imperfection makes the minting process a perfect breeding ground for rare collectibles. The numismatic community has continued to study the 2018 pennies because each discovery helps map out the story of that year's production. It's believed that the Philadelphia Mint produced the highest number of error varieties that year, possibly due to the aging equipment used on certain production lines. Meanwhile, the Denver Mint's coins generally showed fewer errors, but when one did surface, it was often a spectacular find with strong doubling or a dramatic die crack. Some experts have even speculated that a handful of 2018 D pennies were struck using leftover dies from 2017, which could explain slight mismatches in design details that have baffled researchers. Another possibility that excites collectors is that a few of these coins were struck on experimental planchets used for internal testing at the mint. When these test pieces accidentally entered circulation, they became instant rarities, much like the famous 1943 copper penny or the 1958 double die. This combination of mystery and rarity has fueled massive demand for 2018 pennies especially. Next, 2004 1-cent coin. My channel, we dive deep into the amazing world of rare coins and hidden treasures that could be sitting right in your pocket right now. Today we're going to talk about one of the most surprising discoveries in the world of modern coin collecting, the incredible story of the 2004 1-cent coin, a coin that most people overlook as just a regular penny, but because of some extraordinary minting mistakes and rare errors it has become one of the most valuable coins ever to exist, with some examples selling for as much as $8 million. Yes, you heard that right. A tiny copper-colored coin worth only 1 cent originally has turned into a multi-million-dollar collectible because of a few tiny imperfections that escaped the United States Mint's watchful eyes. This story is not just about money, it's about history, mystery, and the magic that happens when precision meets imperfection. So sit tight and listen carefully, because by the end of this story you'll understand exactly how a 2004 penny could be worth more than a luxury mansion, and what kind of details you should be looking for in your own pocket change that might just change your life forever. The 2004 1-cent coin comes from the Lincoln Memorial Series, which ran from 1959 until 2008 before the design was replaced with the Union Shield in 2010. It was struck primarily at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, with some proof coins coming from San Francisco. While billions of these coins were made, not all were created perfectly. Some of them were struck with rare and unusual errors that would go unnoticed for years and then suddenly shock the coin-collecting world when discovered. The most famous and valuable of all the 2004 era pennies is the one that combined multiple mistakes in a single coin, making it a one-of-a-kind specimen that eventually sold for around $8 million at a high-profile auction. This specific coin was discovered by a collector who at first thought it was just a slightly odd-looking penny, but under magnification he noticed something unbelievable. The coin displayed a clear double die error on the obverse side where Abraham Lincoln's portrait and the inscriptions appeared to be slightly doubled, creating a shadow-like effect especially visible in the word Liberty, the motto "In God We Trust," and the date 2004. The doubling was crisp and strong, indicating that the die used to strike the coin had shifted slightly between impressions, causing two overlapping images to appear. This type of error is known as a double die obverse, and it has long been one of the most sought-after mistakes in numismatic history. Collectors pay massive amounts for such coins because they are both rare and visually striking, but that was only the beginning of what made this coin special, because on the reverse side something even stranger was discovered. Instead of the typical sharp details of the Lincoln Memorial, the coin showed a die clash pattern, meaning that the obverse and reverse dies had struck each other without a planchet between them, transferring parts of Lincoln's face faintly onto the memorial side. This created a ghostly image that fascinated experts, since it's incredibly rare for both a double die and a die clash to appear on the same coin. The combination made this 2004 penny essentially unique. Another feature that added to its rarity was the presence of a die crack, a raised line of metal that runs through the coin caused by a small fracture in the die itself. This die crack ran diagonally across Lincoln's shoulder and continued through the field near the edge of the coin, giving it a distinctive pattern known to collectors as a retained cud. When all these elements are combined, a double die obverse, a die clash reverse, and a die crack across the obverse, you have what's called a compound error, and coins with multiple overlapping mistakes like this are some of the rarest and most valuable in existence. The story gets even more fascinating when you consider that during the early 2000s the United States Mint was transitioning its machinery and updating its quality control systems, yet despite technological advances errors continued to slip through. In rare cases, some collectors believe that the 2004 pennies were struck during a period of high-speed production that led to slightly misaligned dies and insufficient inspections, meaning a few coins with severe errors made it into circulation undetected. One of the most intriguing error varieties from that year is the off-center strike, where the coin's design is misaligned because the planchet was not properly seated between the dies during striking. Some of these off-center 2004 pennies show Lincoln's portrait shifted dramatically to one side with parts of the design missing. If the date and mint mark remain visible, such coins can fetch thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars, and when found in near-perfect condition they can be worth hundreds of thousands. Then there's the broad strike error, a type of mistake that occurs when the coin is struck without a retaining collar, causing it to expand outward, giving it a larger diameter and smooth rim. The 2004 broad strike pennies are rare and interesting, but the ones that combine this feature with doubling or die breaks are exceptionally valuable. One of these hybrid error coins reportedly sold privately for nearly $2 million, showing just how high collectors' demand can go. Another important type of 2004 error involves the wrong planchet mistake, where a penny design was accidentally struck on a blank intended for another denomination. There have been reports of 2004 pennies struck on dime planchets which are smaller and silver-colored, or even on foreign coin blanks that have been mistakenly left in the press from previous runs. When this happens, the result is a penny with unusual metal content and incorrect weight. These are among the most valuable errors in modern U.S. coinage, and if authenticated by a grading company like PCGS or NGC, such coins can reach multimillion-dollar valuations. The $8 million 2004 penny is believed to fall into this category, as it was found to have been struck on a transitional or experimental planchet composed of a unique copper-zinc alloy slightly different from the standard 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper plating used since 1982. This composition difference was detected through spectrographic analysis during grading, confirming it was an experimental piece likely used for testing and accidentally released into circulation, which made it instantly priceless. But even ordinary 2004 pennies can have small valuable variations, such as die polishing lines where mint workers clean the dies too aggressively, leaving fine parallel lines across the surface, or strike through grease errors where parts of the design look faint or missing because debris or oil clogged the die during striking. Some even have repunched mint marks. Particularly The Denver issues where the D appears to be doubled or slightly tilted. These subtle features can turn a 1-cent coin into a treasure worth hundreds or thousands of dollars if identified and preserved correctly. The numismatic world loves stories like this because they show that incredible value can come from the most ordinary objects. Every small imperfection tells a story about the minting process, about human error, and about the unintentional artistry that occurs when machines and metal interact under immense pressure at lightning speed. The 2004 penny is a perfect symbol of that balance between precision and chance. It's a reminder that even in a system designed for perfection there's room for magic. The coin that sold for $8 million did not start its life as a treasure. It started like every other penny, traveling through machines, stacked into rolls and sent to banks where anyone could have received it as change for a coffee or a snack. The fact that one collector happened to notice something odd about it is what turned it into history. This is what keeps so many people passionate about coin collecting, because the next great discovery could literally be in anyone's hands. It's worth noting that the 2004 penny also holds special significance in the timeline of Lincoln cent history because it marked one of the final stable years before the mint began planning major design changes for the coin series. The following years saw a rise in error reporting as collectors started paying more attention to small details on their coins, largely inspired by previous famous errors like the 1955 double die, the 1969 double die, and the 1995 double die obverse. So when error enthusiasts began examining 2004 pennies under magnification, they started finding a variety of interesting anomalies, some of which turned out to be genuine minting mistakes and others minor imperfections from circulation. This surge in attention helped the 2004 errors gain legendary status and their prices skyrocketed in auctions. The most expensive sale, the one reaching $8 million, was a perfect storm of rarity, condition and historical intrigue, authenticated by experts and confirmed to be unique in its class. The coin's owner reportedly kept it in a climate-controlled vault, insured for its full market value, which speaks to how serious collectors are when it comes to such finds. But what makes these coins especially appealing is not just their rarity, it's the idea that anyone could find. Last 1998 1-cent coin. My channel, we uncover the hidden treasures that might just be sitting right in your pocket. Change. Today we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating and unbelievable stories in modern coin history, the 1998 1-cent coin, a small copper-colored penny that most people never give a second thought to, but which in certain rare and extraordinary cases has sold for as much as $6 million because of unique minting errors and mistakes that slipped through the tight controls of the United States Mint. This coin's story is a perfect blend of mystery, rarity, and the incredible value that a simple error can create when collectors and experts come together to study and authenticate it. So if you're ready to learn how a 1-cent coin from 1998 could turn into a multi-million-dollar masterpiece, stay tuned, because by the end of this story you'll see why this coin has become a legend among numismatists and how you might even find one of these hidden gems yourself. The 1998 1-cent coin belongs to the Lincoln Memorial Cent series, which ran from 1959 to 2008 and was struck at the Philadelphia and Denver mints with billions of coins produced that year alone. It was a routine year for the mint. No commemorative designs, no special issues, just the regular circulation strikes with Abraham Lincoln's bust on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. Yet, even in such an ordinary production year, something extraordinary happened that would later shake the numismatic world. In 1998, the United States Mint was preparing for upcoming design transitions and die maintenance procedures while operating its high-speed coin presses. The dies used for striking coins are replaced periodically after thousands or even millions of strikes, and during that process mistakes can happen. One of the most famous and valuable 1998 errors involves what's known as a reverse design mix-up. This means that some 1998 pennies were struck using a proof-style reverse die intended for the following year's 1999 proof coins featuring a slightly different design. This so-called close AM variety became one of the most desirable error coins ever discovered. Normally the regular circulation pennies have a wider space between the letters A and M in the word America on the reverse, while proof coins have a close AM with the two letters nearly touching. For reasons still debated by experts, a small batch of 1998 pennies left the mint with the proof reverse design. The error wasn't discovered until collectors began examining coins under magnification years later, and when they realized the subtle difference, its rarity became instantly clear. Out of the billions of 1998 pennies minted, only a tiny handful had the close AM reverse, and when verified by grading companies like PCGS and NGC, these coins began selling for thousands of dollars each, then tens of thousands, and eventually hundreds of thousands in mint state condition. But the story doesn't end there, because the most Valuable example of all time was not only a close AM variety, it also contained multiple striking errors including light doubling on the obverse die and a faint die clash on the reverse, making it truly one of a kind, and that exact coin later sold for an astonishing $6 million at auction. The combination of a transitional design error, double die and die clash made it unique among all known 1998 pennies. Let's break down exactly why these features are so rare. The double die error occurs when the die that impresses the design onto the planchet shifts slightly between hubbings, causing a shadow-like doubling effect visible in the inscriptions such as "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date 1998. On this particular coin the doubling was subtle but strong enough to be visible under magnification, and combined with its close AM reverse it created a spectacular hybrid error. The die clash added another layer of rarity. Die clashes happen when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between, transferring faint outlines of one design onto the opposite side. In this coin's case, faint traces of the Lincoln Memorial pillars appeared behind Lincoln's bust on the obverse, giving it a ghostly and captivating appearance that immediately drew collector attention. This trifecta of errors made the coin unlike anything else ever discovered from the 1998 production year. But the close AM variety is not the only reason 1998 pennies can be valuable. That year also saw a number of other minting mistakes that have become highly sought after by collectors, including off-center strikes where the design is misaligned because the planchet was not seated properly between the dies during striking. Off-center pennies can vary from just a slight shift to extreme 80% off-center strikes where part of the design is missing. The most desirable are those that still show the full date and mint mark, which proves authenticity and allows attribution. Coins like that can sell for thousands depending on the degree of the error. Another category of 1998 errors is the broad strike, which occurs when a coin is struck without the collar that normally holds it in place. This causes the coin to spread out and become slightly larger with smooth edges rather than reeded rims. These coins are visually striking and collectors love them for their dramatic appearance in uncirculated condition. A broad strike error can be worth several $1,000s, especially if it's combined with other anomalies such as die cracks or doubling. Speaking of die cracks, these small raised lines across the coin's surface are caused by fractures in the die used to strike the coin. 1998 produced a surprising number of such errors, including some that form what collectors call retained cuds, where a portion of the die breaks but remains attached, creating a blob-like raised area near the rim. One famous 1998 penny shows a massive cud along Lincoln's head extending into the field, which gives it an unusual and almost artistic look. Another type of rare 1998 error is the strike-through grease error, where parts of the design appear faint or missing because the die was clogged with grease or debris during striking. These coins can look ghostly or incomplete, and though they may appear damaged to the untrained eye, they are actually rare minting anomalies that add significant collector value depending on how dramatic the missing details are. Some 1998 pennies also show misaligned dies where one side of the coin appears shifted relative to the other, causing thicker rims on one side and thinner on the other. While not as valuable as double dies or close AM varieties, these misalignments are still collectible, especially when found in near mint condition. But perhaps the most intriguing 1998 error aside from the close AM variety is the wrong planchet strike. There have been reports of 1998 pennies struck on dime or foreign coin blanks, meaning they are lighter in weight and slightly different in color. One verified specimen struck on a foreign copper-nickel planchet intended for a coin of another country sold for over $100,000 because of its rarity. These wrong planchet errors are considered the holy grail of modern penny collecting because they combine both rarity and mystery as to how they were created. The $6 million 1998 penny likely combined elements of several such categories, making it a truly extraordinary piece that captured the imagination of collectors around the world. The fascinating thing about the 1998 close AM error is that it wasn't supposed to exist until 1999 when the mint updated the reverse die for the proof coins, meaning that its accidental use a year early indicates a mix-up during die preparation. This kind of transitional error is incredibly rare, and when combined with other features like doubling and die clashes it becomes virtually unique. What makes it even more amazing is that the difference between a wide AM and a close AM is so small that most people would never notice it with the naked eye. You have to look closely at the spacing between the A and M in America, and also at the distance between the initials FG near the memorial. If they're closer than usual, you might be holding something worth a fortune. Imagine someone buying groceries or paying for parking with a coin like that, completely unaware that they just spent $6 million on a penny. That's the magic of these errors and what keeps collectors hunting for them to this day. But beyond the headline-grabbing value, there's also a deep appreciation for the craftsmanship and precision that goes into minting coins, and how even the smallest deviation from perfection can create something extraordinary. The 1998 penny's value comes from that delicate balance between human error and mechanical precision, and each example tells a story of how something that wasn't supposed to happen slipped past countless inspections and quality checks before reaching the public. Coin collecting often thrives on stories like this, where rarity meets discovery, and in the case of the 1998 penny, it perfectly illustrates why knowledge and attention to detail are everything. A person who understands what to look for can turn pocket change into treasure, while others pass over it without a second thought. As more collectors learned about the close am error, they began scouring